media. And today she asked me, so can you just tell me how does it work this summer? How do the classes work? How does the academy work? How does Hands-on Harmony work? And so I was like, let's just jump on. And so if you're going to ask me those questions, you might as well ask the questions for everybody.
Yes.
So before we start, let me just say that Summer of Improv begins Monday at Hip Harp Academy. And the Summer of Improv is, and I'll take you to the website in a minute and show it to you. But anybody who's watching, you can go to summerofimprov.com and you can see it. It includes 5 different classes. And one of them is Hands-on Harmony. This is for harp players. And so we're just about to, and we just dropped, there's a sale of Hands-on Harmony is $100 off for the summer, which is something we do every summer so that people can jump in. And the reason you should join now is because I'm about to do a week of live Hands-on Harmony, which only happens about once every 2 years. So Sarah, feel free to ask me anything like how this works. And by the way, I just got back from a run, so I'm like totally sweaty.
All right, let's talk about Hands-on Harmony first.
Sure.
How about you tell us about how that course works and why it's good for harpists from the harpist perspective, and a little bit about how it works within the Summer of Improv.
Okay, so there's kind of it's kind of like those Russian dolls, one thing's inside of another. So Hands-on Harmony, it's a standalone class. It can be by itself, but it's also inside of a program called Jazz for Harps, which is inside of a program called Summer of Improv, which is inside the Hip Harp Academy. And the great thing about this is that you can either buy Hands-on Harmony by itself, you can buy this one little class if that's what you want, or you can buy the whole Summer of Improv, or you can join the academy. And each thing just gets you, it just gets you more. It's like you can go a la carte and you can go and you buy, one piece of sushi, or you can buy the sushi lunch, or you can buy
a restaurant.
Exactly. And so Hands-on Harmony is, and the reason I'm doing it right now is because it's at the beginning of this Summer of Improv, which has a whole lot of jazz in it. And everyone in the academy, I was going to do it later in the summer, and they were like, no, we want it now because that's all the foundation. So it gives you a foundation to do all the rest of the jazz and improv this summer, including blues, jazz for harps, a whole class about jamming. So let me just tell you quickly, why don't I just share my screen for a second? And we also, I'm pretty sure we can see people's questions if you have questions. So feel free to ask. I'm going to try, and Sarah, help me with this. I'm going to try the last time I shared my screen, I lost all my, all my sound, exactly. So let's see if I can, okay. I don't know, maybe this will, I'm just going to show you my whole screen.
Okay.
And all right. And then I'm going to let you pull it up. Oh, I have to click on it. All right. So let me know. Okay. So are we seeing it?
Yes. And we should
still be hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So here's Hands-on Harmony. You can see that this says this class is included in the summer session that begins June 21st. And so it's, and these are the dates. We're actually doing live sessions June 23rd through June 26th. And you can see that the summer special is $100 off. And you can see when each of the classes is happening. You don't have to come to all these classes. The Hands-on Harmony already exists. It's already, you can go take it right now. But the cool thing about taking it live is you're sitting around, you're with other people. And so you'll actually go through it versus, when we sign up for a class and then we don't take it. This really lets you take it. And for me, the big deal is I love being able to ask questions. So this lets you ask questions. There's questions in every session. So there's session A is building chords and intro to progressions. That's on Wednesday. On Thursday, there's session B is progressions and dominant chords, all the cool things you can do with dominant chords. And then session C is chord families and modulations, and that's on Friday. So we've got something on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Each of the sessions are 3 hours long, and we put them at different time zone periods so that people in down under, we have a lot of members in the academy that are in New Zealand, Australia. We have a lot in Europe, and we have a lot in the US. They're not at fabulous times for people in Singapore and in Asia, but we're working on that. And then and then on Saturday we have just a Q&A session. So it lets people ask a lot of questions.
And we just got a question from Lori
Cool.
about the live classes. If someone misses a class, are they able to watch it later that day? Are they recorded?
Yes. And what that's that. Oops. Yes, they're all recorded. So the live sessions are recorded, and every live session has questions. And we're going to be putting them up really as quickly as possible, so that if you're in a time zone where you couldn't see it, you could still watch that session and then come and watch the next one. So you will be able to see everything whether you're there or not.
Great.
And I love that you're that people are asking questions. This is perfect. And you can go there by going to handsonharmony.com. So it's Hands-on Harmony is specifically from a harpist's perspective. Our instrument is very different, and you can learn all the harmony you want. You really get it when you get it in your hands. So there's a lot of exercises that go along with it, practice sessions. By the end of the class, this is what you're going to be able to do. You're going to be able to read. You'll know how to read chord symbols. You'll know how to expand chords from single notes to triads to sevenths to ninths to 11ths. How to alter chords by adding a flat nine, sharp nines, flat fives, sharp fives to make them richer. And what chords you're most likely to want to alter. How to substitute one chord for another. And all of this is about making your harmonies richer on anything you're playing. You're going to know how progressions work, how chords fit together. You're going to learn how to modulate from one key to another I have a kind of a simple formula. There's many ways to do it, but I think it's great to have a formula to start with. And you're going to learn how to psych out a lead sheet so that you're not just playing chord to chord, but you're able to see it in full harmonic sentences. These are some really beautiful quotes about hands-on harmony. This gives you there's some pictures on that page that kind of show you what it's like in the classroom. So we recorded the foundation of this a couple years ago, and then we cut it into bite-sized pieces. And then the live session, I'll be going over, questions. And then, so you could literally, if you signed up right now, you could literally jump in and take it all now. Mm-hmm. Then you could come back to the live session. I mean, this is what I would do. If I were doing this, I would jump in now, take as much as I could, then come to the live session, take it again, and ask questions. Because I'm just like this. I like to be able to answer questions or ask questions. This just tells you can get it a la carte or with the Academy membership. And then this tells you how the class works exactly. So you can do it at your own pace. Even if you are there for all the 3 days this week, you don't have to go through everything. You can go as far, because my classes are all for people of different levels. So I'm always showing things to people, showing to harpists at the simplest level, and then at the more complicated, and then most complex. And the beautiful thing about that is that everybody gets to learn it at the simple level. The people who need to keep it simple, they stay there while others get more complex. And then, so you get more time at the simple level if you're on a simple level, and as it keeps going forward. And then you have 6 months access to it. So you can go back and get the rest of it later. That just explains that. Here's how you jump in. You can either register for Hands-on Harmony or the Academy. And this is why I created it for you. So that's that. So that answers all of that. All right. So I'm humming back, and so any questions about that, Sarah or anybody else? Wait a second. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, Laura. Great. Lori, that's great. We've recently done Hands-on Harmony online, but look forward to the live. Yes. A lot of people have taken Hands-on Harmony, and this is a great opportunity for them to jump in and actually ask questions, learn more, because it's inexhaustible. I mean, I'm still learning about harmony. Mm-hmm. That's brilliant. That's really great. Let me squeeze down to see. As Elizabeth says, that's me, the simple level. Well, good for you. So I learned all this stuff. I've learned it all my life, and I learned it first as a kid. So I was only able to get it up to a certain level, but that didn't mean I couldn't play up a storm. So what I learned, that I only had to learn this much in order to play. Mm-hmm. Then because I was learning it as a kid, the next year I'd learn this much, and then I could play more. And then the next year I'd learn this. But
keep building off that foundation.
Yeah, and it was great because as a kid, I didn't have any preconceptions. So if I learned 3 chords, I was like, I just learned everything. That's so great. I'm so smart. And then if I learned how to play 7th chords, I'd be like, whoa, I just learned everything.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that, and I want people to know about Hands-On Harmony today because, well, you've got $100 off, but if you're in the academy, you don't have to buy it; you've already got it. Just because doing it live it just doesn't happen very often. So, any other questions you have about that, Sarah?
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about how the live classes work throughout the whole Summer of Improv. So maybe you could walk us through the calendar about what the Summer of Improv is going to look like.
Yeah, you know what I wish I had in front of me, and we can do this another time. First of all, I wish I had the syllabus for Hands-On Harmony. I do have it. I just don't know. I don't remember where it is because it's in Google Docs. But let me take you into Summer of Improv. So Hands-On Harmony is just one of the classes, but it's a really powerful class that a lot of people like to take. Getting into Summer of Improv, that's when you get to see, the whole thing all together. So I'll take you back there again, and feel free to ask questions as we go. It's really great that Sarah's here. This is okay. Whoops. There I am. Okay, great. So are you seeing Summer of Improv now on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you can get to this page by going to summerofimprov.com. And this is basically jazz for harps, but with a little bit more expansion. So jazz has I just love reading this. Sorry, I mean, I love it because when you learn improv, it just opens up so much. And a lot of people think that that jazz is a specific style of music, which it is, but it also has all these powerful concepts that work in any style. And that's why I didn't just want to call it jazz for harps. I want people to understand that it is all about improv. You can learn jazz harmony and just jazz up the harmonies in any music, even if you're playing meditative music or hymns. I mean, even you can learn rhythm, or you can leave the rhythm out and you can just learn the harmony. And even you could learn any one of these actually, because they're all the different quadrants of jazz. But what's going to happen through the summer is that we will first be doing them individually, and then we'll be putting them together. So we start off with the harmony, which is, let's see, I think you can see it down here. Oh, I'll show you the pictures. Mm-hmm. You can start with the harmony. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know what I can point to, but it says harmony. That's the Hands-On Harmony class. And we start out with rhythm. So you immediately start with harmony and rhythm. And the rhythms is available right now. It's the jazz harp warm-ups. So they're available as soon as you register, and it's pre-recorded, and it just lets you throughout the summer keep expanding and exploring those rhythms. The next thing we get into, and this starts just in about a week or two, is the roadmap of the tunes. So every single tune actually has a roadmap, but we're going to be looking at how those roadmaps work in jazz. So that's the second part. And then you'll be able to apply the harmony and the rhythm to the roadmaps. But you can also create roadmaps in meditation music as well. So one of the things that's really great to realize is to separate the stylistic elements of jazz from the conceptual elements of jazz. The concepts help you improvise in anything. The styles help you be jazzy. And those are both cool. And then in July, we will jump into Summer Harp Jam. And it's not that we won't be doing those others then. We will then add the improv. And by improv, I mean, we're improvising the whole time. But Summer Harp Jam focuses on melodic improv. It's a whole summer. And it's really fun because what happens in Summer of Improv, well, in Summer Harp Jam, I'll show you in a second. It's a lot of what's called call and response. So instead of sitting there, wait, I'll just do it in a second. Let me so I hope that makes sense that, oh, well, let me just show you these. We start out with hands-on harmony. It teaches you harmony specifically for harpists, but you also get access to the jazz harp warm-ups. And you can see here that I'm not writing out the rhythms. I mean, I do write out the rhythms, but I'm also writing them out in a way almost like you would dance them with your fingers, because it's just an easier way. It's a way to get off the page, which is always my goal. The roadmaps, this is an example of a roadmap, and it's also known as a lead sheet. It gives you the navigation of a tune. And so that's what we do next, because then we can apply what we learned in the harmony, and if we want, the rhythm, to these roadmaps, and they can be as simple or as complicated as we want. When we get to Summer Harp Jam, that's when we start looking, we take these little progressions that you learned in hands-on harmony, we start opening them out and adding improvisation to them. Ooh, and I forgot, there's a bonus class, which is blues harp style. So probably in July and August, some of the people are going to want to go into blues, others are going to want to stick with jazz or meditation, and people will be able to do that at the end of July and into August. So that's why it's a whole summer of improv. That's why it's
and so all of these courses individually within Summer of Improv, they all include pre-recorded aspects, online coursework aspects, but also there's live to all these classes too.
That is right. So once you get into this class, if you join hands-on harmony, you just get the dates that are on that page. If you join the Summer of Improv, you get, for the whole summer, it's kind of like being in the academy for about 3 or 4 months. For 3 months for the summer. Yeah, it's kind of like being in summer school or summer camp, not summer school.
Summer camp.
Right. So you get not only the classes, which are pre-recorded, so you can take them anytime you want, but there's the big live component. And I'm wondering if that's written on here and where it's written.
I think maybe it's right under where we have the courses laid out.
Where we have the what?
Like right there. Down here to how the program works.
How the program. Warm-ups,
that last paragraph.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sarah. So yes, the program includes, for all summer, it includes live weekly master classes. Each of them is 60 to 90 minutes long, and the master classes combine coaching and feedback and Q&A. And there's always 2 master classes on Monday because there's students in different time zones. And some people just come to both because they really like the live stuff. Once we get into July, there's actually going to be 3 live sessions, because we'll also do a live session of Summer Harp Jam, even though it's all pre-recorded. Some people prefer to just be there live. It's just more fun. So we started doing more live things. So this is inside those Russian dolls. You can sign up for Hands-on Harmony. Hands-on Harmony is included in the Summer of Improv, and the Summer of Improv is included in the Academy. So it's a little confusing, which is why you can always just ask me a question, on Facebook, or you can, most of these pages have an ask a question form and FAQs that let you just ask me questions. Okay, and so you can actually see in the Academy, you can see that Jazz for Harps, Blues Harp Style, Summer Harp Jam, Hands-on Harmony, those are all part of the big program. So we just took 5 classes out of the Academy Learning Vault, and we're focusing on those this summer. And we made it possible for people to buy them individually or to buy them as a summer program. That's basically how it worked.
Great.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, one thing I was curious about when I was first learning about how all of this works was how specifically Summer Harp Jam works. You said you'd talk a little bit about that.
Oh, right. Yes. So Summer Harp Jam is really cool because, let me see if I can, let me just make sure. I'm playing with my looper here. Okay. So what I usually do in Summer Harp Jam, let's see if this is, okay, let's say. I'm going to try to loop this. I haven't used my looper for a little while. Wrong! Oh, sorry. But close. Okay, wait a second. Let me just, okay, the guide is off. The level is... That's what we were looking for.
There we go.
Okay, so I've looped that. And then what I will often do, let me just tune this up. Can you tell that it's hot here? So what'll happen, which is really fun, is that we'll have a backing track or a loop that'll go like that. And then I'll go, and you'll go da 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 da, I'll go da da dum, you'll go da da dum, I'll go da 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 dum, you'll go da 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 dum, I'll go da da dum, you'll go da da dum, do ba, you'll go do ba da 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 da. So it's a play along, and you get to learn by playing along. And the cool thing is you don't have to get it right. You can actually do something different than what I did. Let me just loop this again so that the volumes are a little better. So let me. You also get to learn this groove, but. So you don't have to sing back or play back what I play. I might go, you go dum 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 dum, you could go dum dum dum. Like you don't have to play exactly what I'm playing. You're just learning to respond. And the reason people really like that is because you end up learning patterns that you normally wouldn't learn. You're playing the whole time. You're not having to like learn something. You're playing the whole time that you're learning. And it's fun.
You're able to use all of those skills that you learned in the harmony classes and the rhythm classes. And
that's right. Well, this, yes and no. Well, when you put it all together, like in Jazz for Harps or Summer Improv, you're putting it all together. This is especially you're right. You are putting it together because you also learn how to do it yourself. Like you're doing it with me, but then you also you might learn to go like this. That's similar, or you might go. That's similar to what I just did. I know it doesn't sound similar, but it is. It's the same harmony, but it's a simpler version of it. So it lets you learn. Because it's harder. We want to have something simple when you start putting the hands together. And so what I find is that when you've got a rhythm section, like this is a rhythm section, that's like having another person. When you go to play that same idea, you need to make it you need to be able to maybe even play one at a time, like and I know it sounds like it's not the same thing, but it is just in a less rhythmic style. Or you might go what I'm doing here is I'm playing the three roles. The roles are bass, accompaniment, melody. These are the three roles of music. So we have to find ways to do that with two hands. So I'm either going to play two of the roles with one hand like this, and I'm going to keep it simple at first, and then I'm going to play melody here, or I'm going to play the, so now I played bass and accompaniment with my left hand and melody with my right hand, or I might play bass and accompaniment with my left hand and my right, and then I alternate and I play a melodic improvisation, bass and accompaniment, and then I improvise above it. So you just have to find all kinds of different ways to combine them in a way
Yeah.
that works for each person. And there's all kinds of and you're sort of taking it apart all summer, and that's why it's great to have the live portion. So somebody can come in and say, well, I don't know how do I do that? And they'll be like, okay, so A, what kind of music are you playing? Are you playing with other people? Are you playing alone? Are you playing at bedside? So we're going to take that same concept and we're going to break it apart so it works for you, for what you want to do. Not for you to sound like me, but for you to really empower what you want to sound like.
And their music, their own music.
That's right. And the way that you, and the way that you're going to be using music for yourself.
Yeah, and I like that idea too of separating out those pieces, because it also goes along with the concept of having something, no matter what level of playing you're at right now. You can start at your own foundation, do what works for you, and then build from that, which is so great.
Yeah, yes. I love that what you said too, Sarah, because, you know, as musicians, and you're a musician too, we can get into this thing where we're like, well, here's this piece and I have to learn this whole piece and I have to get this piece. And when I got it, then I can play it. But when it comes to playing together in community, or which jazz is, and that's one of the concepts underneath it, the point is to be in the game, not to be the star,
right?
But to be playing in the game, and the game being the music. And so learning it on these simple levels lets you be there from the very beginning. And that's another reason I think people really love this summer harp jam, where everyone's playing along. Nobody's hearing each other because it's all virtual,
right?
But you get to have that experience of playing along.
Yes, wonderful.
Cool.
That's so great.
Yeah. So do you have a better sense of how it's working now?
I think that the Russian doll analogy is the best one we have so far. I think that's a really great way to think about it. Because there's you can get one class if you want to get that one class, and it's all within the big Russian doll of Hip Harp Academy and the learning model.
Right. And then there's the middle-sized Russian doll, which is Summer of Improv, where you just get to kind of come to summer camp. And the other great thing about the Academy is if you can't decide, you start with the little one, and then you always have the option to upgrade and go to the next level and go to the next level. Yeah. So you don't lose out. You're not like, oh, I paid for Hands-On Harmony, now I have to pay for Summer of Improv. No, you paid for Hands-On Harmony. You decide you want to go to Summer of Improv. You get a class credit, and you get to take that and then apply it to Summer of Improv. So
every little thing that you get in the Academy is worth the whole thing. So it's so great.
Cool. Yeah. That's great. So did anybody else have any questions? This is an opportunity. I'm really struggling with my microphone here. I'm kind of holding it on my face. I was supposed to glue it on my face, but I just went running and my face is all sweaty. So it's not going to stay there.
Do what we can.
So Sarah, any other questions, like things that you think that maybe I shouldn't ask this, or maybe I should know this, or just, or things that you,
It'd be cool to hear about. I one of the things that I really liked learning about with Summer of Improv was how all the courses work together to build out that whole quadrant thing. Yeah. And then how you can apply that to any style of music. I think that was something that we emphasized a lot, or tried to emphasize a lot when we were putting the page together, was that the idea of jazz scares a lot of people.
Yes.
But that using these concepts helps them apply to any type of music. So maybe you can give us a little example, or
yes, absolutely. Hi, tiny comedian. Nice to see you here.
From YouTube. Great.
Oh yeah, great. So a lot of times when people think of jazz, they think of a certain style of jazz, either Latin jazz, swing jazz, Dixieland jazz, out there jazz, whatever. But let's say, let's just take, let's see. Okay, so let's just take a song like Autumn Leaves, which is a jazz tune. And and it's an interesting jazz tune because it can be played as a swing or as a Latin. So let's say you were going to play it as a Latin jazz tune. And where I'm getting to here is that I'm going to show you how you're kind of using harmony, but also how you could turn it into a meditative piece. Because a lot of harpists, they may have fun playing with rhythm, but they're either making a living playing at bedside or in therapy. So it's really important for harpists to know how to break this stuff apart. So if I was playing it as a, let's say as a Latin piece, I'm just going to sing it just so you can really see the rhythms. Do da da da, do da 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 da, do da da da, do da da da. So that's kind of upbeat. But if you learn the roadmap is D minor, G. Well, you don't even need to know the D minor because it's all in one family. So you could just say D, G, and C, F, and B, E, and A. And it repeats that D, G, and C, F, and B, and E, and A. So once you start realizing that, you're like, oh, there's a pattern here. And one of the things that's really beautiful about the harp is that I choose the specific songs because they're easier to get started with. You can just build thirds out, all like you could do this, Sarah. Like, I know you don't play the harp, but if I showed you where D was, you could play this chord, because if I said you play just every other string, and then if I showed you where G was, then like a what?
Because it's like a staff, a musical staff.
Yeah, it's exactly like a musical staff. So you don't have to think about the position. The position is literally the same. My hands are going to be in the same position, D, and they're in the same position for G, and then they move down to C, and then they come up to F. Then it gets a little complicated. I'm leaving some notes out, and then I have to deal with that. I mean, there are things that you have to deal with. But so now I'm just playing the roadmap and the harmonies. Now, and I'm not even playing the melody. If somebody wanted to take the rhythm out of it, take the improv out of it, take the melodic improv out of it, and they were just playing at a bedside, you could slow it way down. The melody's not even there. And you're just playing something really beautiful. I think I left some chords out because it was so slow. But
see, it still works because you're learning all these
tools. Right. And this is the same roadmap. It's a D as slow and with as much. Now I'm melodically improvising, and G. And now I'm melodically improvising C. It's the same roadmap, but no melody. And it's opened up to the F. And now it's I see what happens there, to the B, and then the E, and now the A. So that's just half of the roadmap there. So by learning the roadmap, by learning how to make the chords, by taking away the parts that you personally don't need, like the rhythm, and then learning a little bit about the improv, you're able to do a bunch of different things with it.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's such a great example.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And you can put everything together from the specific course or from some of the other smaller courses and be able to create such a full piece of music.
Well, so that's great. Right. Yeah. And I built the classes so that, thank you, Tiny Comedian. That's great for anyone's watching. And I built the classes because I built each one individually. If you just take one of them, I mean, you get a lot of things to improvise on in hands-on harmony. So if that's all you do, you come away from the class and you can play with all of that. Same thing with Summer Harp Jam. It was its own class for a while. It was all by itself. Because as I was teaching harpists different things, I was teaching them the roadmaps, and I was teaching them this, and then I was like, they really need that. They really need to have time to explore the melody. And so that's when I built that class, and then just put them all together. So can the course be adapted to piano? Yes. Especially the Tiny Comedians asking if the course can be adapted to piano. The classes that are going to be best on piano, well, what I do is I try to build all the beginning things in C, so you could do them on all the white keys of the piano, so that it could be done. You're not going to get, it's a harp class, so you're going to get things that are very specific to harp. I don't know if I would, unless you just really like my style. And so you, I don't know. I got a big message just now. My computer's talking to me. If you really like my style and you just want to be playing along. Well, if you really want to be playing along, Summer Harp Jam is going to be fun. I've had people do it on flute. I've had them do it on a bunch of other things. That would be a great. The other thing is blues. The blues is pretty cool. Except there's all these techniques. There's these cool things that you learn in blues that you can't do on the piano, like, and so that could be a little bit frustrating. You're talking to somebody who constantly, for music, had to take classes that weren't for harpists. So I was constantly one of my favorite classes was the guitar techniques of Steve Vai. And I took it on the harp, and there was no way I could get anywhere near doing the homework. But because I couldn't do it, it helped me come up with a lot of new techniques. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on how intrepid you are.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions anybody has? This is all about Hands-On Harmony, which is starting. Well, the most important thing is Hands-On Harmony Live is starting next week. So I want go to handsonharmony.com if anybody's here, especially harp players. It's $100 off for the summer. And it's just, I never do it live. It's usually just a standalone class that you can take on your own. You still can do that. But this next week, there's also going to be live sessions and questions. Any other questions?
Hands-On Harmony in the caption as well.
Oh, great. That's great.
Cool. Great. Yeah. I feel Tiny Comedian because learning about all these courses have made me want to buy a harp, start learning music.
Really? Seriously?
It's so interesting to see how the harp totally changes your view on music theory and how you can view it. Different ways.
Yes, I honestly think that there should be harps in music schools just for people to learn harmony on, because it's so much more like the harp is more like a staff, and the piano is because there's only 7 notes, just like there are on a staff. There's only 7 notes on the harp, and you literally sharp them. On a piano or a flute or whatever. All the notes are there, and you have to pick and choose them. But what's so amazing about the harp is they're not there. And the power of that. So it can become, at first I was like, that's a limitation, blah, 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 blah. And then I began to realize that any limitation for any instrument is also a strength. And so the strength in jazz on the harp is that once you start to learn in harmony in families rather than chromatically, you start to get a lot of freedom in terms of not only playing certain jazz tunes, but especially in terms of jazzing up the music you already play, which personally I think is really exciting. I love jazz. I love playing jazz. I played jazz on the pedal harp. I had a record contract, and I really, really, really love it. And even more do I love taking the concept of jazz, the liberating concepts of jazz, and applying them to every style of music.
Right. Yes. Fantastic.
Oh, Tiny Comedian, you saw me playing San Antonio. You mean with the San Antonio Symphony? Or was it? Oh, and I was a kid and just wanted to learn how to play with such artistry. I'm a little person, so holding a, well, there are little harps. I mean, this is another thing that I really love about the harp. And it's something that I loved about the ukulele as a kid. So when I got my first ukulele when I was 7. And then as I got bigger, I had a soprano uke as a kid. And then as I got bigger, I got a baritone uke and then a tenor guitar. And what was cool about that is that my relationship to the instrument always stayed the same. As I got bigger, the instrument got bigger. So, but when I was little, yes. And that's another thing that I love about harps is that they come in all sizes. I saw someone literally playing a harp. I couldn't believe this. It was like this big and it was this tall, maybe, and it only had about 11 strings on it. Do you sing, Tiny Comedian? I can't remember whether you sing or not, because if a little harp and singing, I just think it's a great instrument. And I did not think it was a great instrument when I started. I thought it was a fussy, girly, limited, pooey instrument. But now if you sing, then the harp is really great. And you might want to get a little harp. And I think you're in the Boston area too. I'm not sure. Because I think we've actually talked, and I think you might be able to get a harp at Wooden Strings in Arlington Center. Okay, you sing on your channel. Okay, so
great.
There's also a class in the Academy called Sing and Play Harp. And if you want to start the harp and you are a singer, that's the class, because it teaches you harp. This is different than what we came on here to say, but it teaches you harp the way I learned ukulele. It teaches you 3 chords that you can do really simply, so that in a day you could learn how to play a bunch of songs that have only those 3 chords, and there are gazillions of them. And then you get to get a foundation in that. Then you get to go on from that foundation. So I think you're seeing this theme, that because of how I started as a kid who could barely play anything, but it let me be in the game, that's how I like to teach. That everybody should have that. You don't have to be a virtuoso to play. It belongs to everybody. Music belongs to everybody. And, especially playing and singing, that was like, to me, to be able to play and sing an instrument was like, that was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, and with other people too. It's so liberating. Yes. So great to be able to participate.
Right, because then I just remember that day I was given, told how to play 3 chords on the ukulele, and I realized, A, I could play for myself for the first time. I didn't just have to have an adult play the song. B, I could then play with other people, including kids. And I remember when the very first time I went and played at a school assembly and had people singing with me, just what an incredible feeling that was, to be able to provide that for others.
Yes.
Yes. Tiny Comedian saying everyone should have music as a voice, even if it's just an instrument. Absolutely.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah. That's great. So hopefully we've answered lots of questions, and Sarah, hopefully I've answered all the questions you had.
It's clear to me now.
That's great. Okay, good. All right. Well, I hope that I'll see you guys. If you do have questions, let me just I think I can put this in here. Let me try.
Yeah.
There's an easy way to ask me questions. Let me try this. Can't post messages to some channels. Okay, whatever. You guys can let me know if this goes. Let's see if this goes to you. It's basically hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument, hipharp.com, and then /ask.
There we go. Perfect.
Did that go in?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, so interesting. Okay, we're still learning this thing. Okay, yes. All right. Well, then I think we're going to go back to our other work. There's a little other projects we're doing. Thank you so much, Sarah, for jumping in here and asking questions.
Thank you.
Tiny Comedian, thanks for coming. Everybody else who came, I hope I see you in the Academy or in Hands-on Harmony. And it all starts this coming week. Okay. I think we can just
everybody.
end it now.